The sun cast long shadows across the crowded parking lot of Westbrook Mall. Shoppers bustled between rows of cars, arms full of bags. The air buzzed with honking horns and fragments of distant conversation. Amid the chaos, Officer Jason Miller moved steadily, one hand loosely gripping the leash of his partner, a sturdy German shepherd named Valor. Jason had served as a K-9 officer for nearly a decade. He trusted Valor more than he trusted most people. The dog's instincts had saved lives more times than Jason could count, sniffing out hidden drugs, detecting weapons, and once even sensing a heart attack before the victim knew it was happening. They were a team in every sense of the word. As they neared a silver Daewoo sedan parked near the north entrance, Valor abruptly stopped. His ears perked up, nostrils flared. A low growl rumbled in his throat. Jason tensed. Before he could speak, Valor lunged toward the vehicle, barking furiously. His front paws scratched frantically at the driver's side door. Inside the car sat a woman, visibly pregnant, clutching the steering wheel. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with panic. As Valor continued barking, she cracked the window an inch. Pregnant woman pleading, "Please, make him stop. I'm just waiting for my husband." Her voice trembled, brittle and desperate. A small crowd began to gather, drawn by the noise. Some onlookers filmed on their phones. Others whispered and exchanged uneasy glances. A few frowned at Jason, interpreting his actions as harassment. Jason hesitated, but only for a second. Protocol dictated that a handler must trust the dog's instincts, even when circumstances appeared innocent, and Valor had never shown this level of urgency without cause. He glanced at the woman. She cradled her belly protectively, but Valor's warning signs were flashing like flares. Jason clicked his radio. "Jason, Unit 12, requesting immediate assistance at North Lot entrance. I need a perimeter established around a silver Daewoo sedan. Possible threat. Initiating evacuation." The woman began sobbing now, openly. Pregnant woman, "I haven't done anything wrong, please." Valor's barking intensified. Jason, calm professional, "Ma'am, please step out of the vehicle. For your safety, and for the safety of everyone here, we need to conduct a routine inspection." She quivered, but obeyed. Her hands shook as she opened the door and stepped out slowly, leaning heavily on the car, one arm wrapped around her belly. Jason gently guided her away as backup units arrived, quickly cordoning off the area. But Valor wouldn't move. He remained fixated on the car, scratching at the metal, refusing to leave. Tension thickened in the humid air. Parents clutched their children tighter. Mall security urged shoppers toward the exits. Patrol car lights flickered against windshields, casting surreal, strobing patterns. Jason knelt beside Valor. "Jason," low, steady. "Good boy, Valor. Hold your ground." He stood again, eyes narrowing on the sedan. Whatever was happening here, it was far from ordinary. Officers approached the vehicle with practiced caution. One gently opened the driver's side door and scanned the interior. Quick, but thorough. No weapons, no drugs, no suspicious packages. Seats clean, glove compartment empty. The pregnant woman leaned against a concrete barrier. Her breathing was ragged. Tears streamed down her face. Pregnant woman, sobbing, "I need a hospital. Something's wrong with my baby." "Please?" Jason hesitated. Was it a misunderstanding? Had the stress triggered labor? He turned to Valor, but the dog wasn't focused on her anymore. He was at the trunk now, clawing, barking. Blood speckled the metal from his shredded paws. Jason's stomach sank. Jason popped the trunk now. The woman's face twisted in horror. Pregnant woman, "No, there's nothing there. Please, don't open it." Ignoring her, another officer retrieved the car keys she had dropped during her removal. The trunk popped open with a click. What they found inside silenced the crowd. A boy, 6 years old, wedged inside a large duffel bag, his wrists and ankles bound with duct tape. A dirty cloth around his mouth muffled his cries. His eyes fluttered weakly. in the sunlight. Valor immediately stopped barking. He sat rigid, trembling. Jason rushed forward and scooped the boy into his arms. The child was terrifyingly light, his skin clammy, but his pulse still beat, faint. "But there, Jason." To officers. "Call EMS. Now, we've got a live child, immediate transport needed." The crowd gasped. Phones were lowered. Shock rippled through the bystanders. The woman crumpled to the ground, sobbing. But now her cries carried a new sound: defeat. Officers handcuffed her without resistance. As the ambulance pulled in, Jason remained kneeling with the boy, whispering reassurances. Valor sat by his side, bloodied paws still, eyes never leaving the child. Jason scratched Valor's ear gently. Jason, whispering, "You saved him, buddy. You saved him." Flashback, 3 years earlier. It happened during a nighttime raid in the industrial district. A suspect, desperate to escape, detonated a homemade device just as Jason and Valor approached. The blast wasn't large, but it was enough. Valor was thrown against a concrete wall, crumpling instantly. Jason found him barely breathing. Blood seeped from his ear. His legs twitched. The next morning, veterinarians delivered grim news: mild traumatic brain injury, response time impaired, coordination damaged, likely unfit for duty. The department prepared paperwork for retirement. Euthanasia was on the table, but Jason refused. He signed waivers, assumed full custody, carried the broken dog home himself, and he made a promise. Montage. Rehabilitation. Valor struggled. Simple tasks were a challenge. Fetching, obeying basic commands, but whenever Jason simulated distress, Valor never failed to act. Jason shifted focus. Valor didn't need speed or tricks. He needed purpose. They trained for scent detection, human tracking, refusal to abandon. Eventually, they were reassigned to a child abduction task force. In one high-profile case, a suspect fled with a child into a condemned warehouse. The stairwell collapsed. The suspect fled to the upper floor. Without hesitation, Valor leapt the broken gap, landed, and drove the suspect back with feral determination. The girl, clinging to his neck, refused to let go. A medal hangs in Jason's office now, but Valor never cared. All he needed was Jason, and Jason knew Valor didn't need saving. He just needed someone to believe. Back to present. Parking lot. As paramedics lifted the child onto a stretcher, Jason remained by Valor's side, holding his collar gently to keep him from following. The boy would live, and somewhere inside Jason knew, without Valor, that boy would have been lost forever. Meanwhile, the pregnant woman, now handcuffed and trembling, was led into a police cruiser. Initial background checks revealed a disturbing history. She had a documented record of untreated severe psychiatric disorders, including delusional thinking and episodes of violent behavior. Her medical records showed recent lapses in medication compliance, and her ex-husband had previously filed restraining orders citing concern for their child's safety. Once in custody, she was transferred to a secure psychiatric facility for emergency evaluation. Doctors quickly diagnosed her as being in the midst of an acute psychotic break. In her confused mind, she believed she was helping, saving the boy from imagined threats. Based on the risk assessment and the seriousness of her actions, the authorities mandated her long-term commitment to a high-security mental health institution. Legal proceedings would be deferred until doctors deemed her capable of standing trial. Jason watched from a distance as she was driven away, feeling a strange mixture of sadness and grim relief. Another life, though broken, had been intercepted before greater tragedy could unfold. At the hospital, doctors confirmed that the boy had narrowly escaped permanent damage. Had he been trapped in that trunk for even 2 more hours, the oxygen deprivation could have turned fatal. His recovery would be slow but complete. Valor's intervention had not just saved the boy's life, it had preserved his future. When authorities pieced together the full story, They uncovered even more chilling details. The woman had abducted her own son during a supervised visit, claiming she needed to rescue him. In her delusional state, she intended to flee the state and disappear with the boy indefinitely. No one knows how long the child would have remained hidden, or what further harm he might have suffered, if not for Valor's unwavering instincts. Jason was formally recognized by the department, but he insisted the true hero was the one sitting quietly at his side, tail wagging modestly beneath the bandage wrapped around one paw. The police chief arranged for a press conference to share the story with the public, not for accolades, but as a warning about hidden dangers and a tribute to the silent guardians among us. The crowd at the small media event was thick with emotion. Reporters, officers, and parents alike applauded as Jason knelt beside Valor, slipping a Medal of Honor onto the dog's collar. Cameras flashed as Valor lifted his head proudly, his dark eyes alert and steady, still ever watchful. In the background, the little boy stood holding his father's hand, clutching a small stuffed German shepherd toy they had bought just that morning. He stared at Valor with wide, grateful eyes, unaware of how close he had come to vanishing without a trace. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Jason placed a hand on Valor's shoulder and whispered, "You did it again, buddy. You listened when no one else could." And Valor, silent but resolute, pressed his head into Jason's chest. An old soldier, battered but unbeaten, still answering the call when it mattered most. The weeks that followed were filled with recovery, gratitude, and healing. The young boy, after receiving medical care and extensive therapy for the trauma he had endured, began to smile again. His father, overwhelmed with relief and love, organized a small gathering to properly thank the two heroes who had saved his son's life. On a bright Saturday afternoon, Jason pulled into the driveway of the boy's home. Valor sat upright in the passenger seat, his tail thumping lightly against the seat as they parked. As Jason opened the car door, Valor leapt down, his movements steady but careful, still recovering from his injured paws. The boy, wearing a blue T-shirt and clutching a hand-drawn thank you card, ran toward them as fast as his little legs could carry him. He skidded to a stop before Valor and dropped to his knees, wrapping his small arms around the German shepherd's thick neck. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Jason watched, a lump rising in his throat, as Valor gently pressed his head against the boy's shoulder, standing perfectly still, as if understanding the importance of the moment. "You're my hero," the boy whispered into Valor's ear, his voice soft and full of wonder. Jason knelt beside them, his hand resting on Valor's broad back. His voice was thick with emotion as he replied, "No, buddy, you are." The boy looked up at him with wide eyes, and Jason ruffled his hair gently. In that instant, everything, the years of training, the battles fought in silence, the sacrifices made without expectation, it all felt worth it. Later that evening, as the sun dipped low behind the hills, Jason and Valor returned home. Jason sat on the front steps of his porch, sipping a mug of coffee, while Valor sprawled comfortably beside him. The dog's new metal, polished and shining, caught the last golden rays of sunlight, casting tiny reflections across the porch. Valor's eyes remained alert, even as he rested, ever the guardian, ever ready. Above them, just by the front door, a freshly installed wooden sign swung gently in the evening breeze. It read, "Home of Valor." The dog who listened when no one else could. And as twilight deepened and stars began to prick the sky, Jason leaned back, feeling an overwhelming peace settle over him. In a world that often failed to listen, one dog had heard the silent cries and had answered them. If Valor's incredible story touched your heart, imagine how many more silent heroes are out there waiting to be heard. At Paw Prints, we celebrate the bravery, loyalty, and love that only animals can offer. If you believe in the power of second chances, encouragement without words, and heroes with 4 paws and a beating heart. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that hope can come from the unlikeliest of places. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another story that will warm your heart. Thank you for being part of our family. Stay tuned for more real, unforgettable moments only on Paw Prints.